to Aqua Adrenaline 2014, featuring the Zapcat National Championship, Nations Raceboat Series, jet ski stunt displays and more. Now I'm joined by the Raceboat Series organiser, Bob McCarthy. Bob, what got you into powerboat racing?
Initially I started off in water ski racing. I was driving for my nephew, but that was 25 years ago. With the way water ski racing was, if the skier fell off, then you lost the weekend's racing. So we effectively decided we would just race the boats instead. I started in 1989, still here doing it now. Same class, same type of boat.
So how did you get into organising the actual series then?
That came about, I think, because we were predominantly racing quite a long way from home. I thought it'd be quite a nice idea to organise a race locally where I live near Salcombe. So I organised my first race in 1998 in Salcombe. Kind of progressed from there, really.
Now I've heard that you hold a national record. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. I hold a couple of national records actually. I've got a national unlimited monohull record, which stands at 103 miles an hour. I hold a national 3B record with this boat at 62 miles an hour, and a national inboard record at 96, I think, miles an hour. So I've done quite a few record runs.
Yeah, very impressive. So what does the future hold then for Bob McCarthy in this race series?
Hopefully the race series will keep building. Hopefully with the backing and the support from the Aqua Adrenaline Tour, I think that will help encourage more people to come along. This weekend so far has been very good. Again, this is the first in the series to the Aqua Adrenaline Tours. We can but hope that it keeps building, really.
Now we're sat in your Pride and Joy number 9, so tell us a little bit about this boat.
This boat's it originated from Belgium. It was predominantly a ski race boat, which we've adapted for offshore circuit racing. This is its third season in this class. It's got a top speed of about 70 miles an hour.
What does 70 miles per hour feel like on the water?
That's another strange concept which I've never really got my head round. It feels, if it was a car, you'd think you were doing 100. It's very, very strange sensation of speed.
Now I've just spotted Rob in this very impressive looking powerboat. Rob, how did you get into racing powerboats?
It was about 14 years ago, and I was down in my local town in Plymouth. I met up with a chap called Bob McCarthy, got chatting to him. Basically it all started from there, went out and bought a boat, done the basic racing, and then carried on with the series after that.
What's it like racing in the Nation Cup?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's such an adrenaline buzz. You can't really describe it. It's just an adrenaline sport, really.
Your job as a co-pilot, just tell us a little bit about that.
Basically, the job of a co-pilot is to basically tell Dan where all the other boats are, looking at the flags, looking at the course, telling him what speeds we're doing, and basically looking at a GPS screen and telling him where to go.
Well, this race series is certainly very exciting, but that's not all that's going on. Let's check out some jet ski action. I'm joined by somebody who's extremely well known in the world of freestyle jet skiing, Anthony Burgess. Anthony, how did you get into freestyle jet skiing?
I started when I was 12. My dad always did it. I got 2 older brothers who did it as well. And then I sort of started to ride, and then through the years just kept training hard, and I am where I am now.
Yeah, you've got a seriously impressive list of titles to your name. Which are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of the World Pro Championships last October in Lake Havasu. I went out to Tampa for 6 weeks and trained with my sponsor Team Extreme out there, and then we travelled from Tampa to Vegas and drove from Vegas to Lake Havasu, where we trained for the week and set the boat up, and then went and won the World Championship.
Wow, nice one. So how popular is freestyle jet skiing in the UK? Do you find that you do have to go further afield for it?
Yeah, I mean, in the UK there's a lot of guys who do it, but like we're the most committed people to ride these machines, whereas like in America you've got 30 degrees every day. Over here you've got, like we've got today. Yesterday it was nice, today it's a bit windy, cold, so you've got to be committed to be able to do this kind of sport in England.
What's your favourite move of the moment?
My favourite move at the moment is the 540 flat spin. So basically you do 1.5 rotations in the air and then you go into another trick.
When did you do your first 540 rotation? How did it feel?
It felt epic. I mean, I was out in Tampa and crocodile infested lake, so you don't want to fall off. So you make sure you land the trick, otherwise you're in danger.
So how do you think of new moves? I mean, where do you get your inspiration from?
Inspiration comes from snowboard, motocross, and then basically you just watch their body movement and you try and put it onto the jet ski. Obviously you have to adjust and manoeuvre different ways because your stance and everything's completely different, but you try and do it that way.
So tell us a bit about your actual jet ski then. I mean, what makes it different to a standard jet ski?
This one here is a full carbon fibre. It's a 1200cc engine, pushing about 300 brake horse. On 2 cylinders it does 0 to 60 in like 0.2 seconds, but then it runs out, like your top speed's about 60 mile an hour, but it's there within the split second.
So you've got a few here today. What's the difference between them?
This one will do the back flips and all sorts, whereas Josh's will do back flips, barrel rolls, and this one we see here is just like basically subs, fountains, the flat water stuff, and then this is the bigger stuff.
So you're about to introduce me to paddleboarding. So what kind of things do I need to remember when doing this?
It's keeping your eyes forward, don't look at your feet because you're falling if you look at your feet, and just keep your balance, stay low and concentrate.
I've always wanted to have a go on a Segway, and guess what? They're here today. Ben, what have you got organised for us here?
Well, we've got a Segway course behind us. You can come and have a go. We've got a skill session course, so you can have a go learning to use the Segway first, and then record a time against the Stig or one of our instructors around the figure of 8 course.
So what's the most important thing to remember when you're riding one of these?
Okay, well, the most important thing is it does balance for you, so you don't have to worry too much about that if you've got terrible balance. But the most important thing is just to think about where you want to go, and it will take you that way. It's quite intuitive. So.
And how fast do they go?
This one goes up to about 12.5 miles an hour. It's limited at the moment to half that speed, just so you can get practice, and then we'll bump you up to full speed when you're doing your race.
Okay, is there any kind of equipment that I have to wear? Helmets, body armour?
We've got a rather flattering helmet you've got to put on, but apart from that, you're all set to go.
And what's the likelihood of me falling off?
Not much today, no. They're pretty good. They cope with the terrain quite well, so we're all right.
Let's get on it. As you can see, the Zap Cats are heading out for the first race of the day, and I've got to say I'm really excited. My first ever Zap Cat race experience. Jamie, you're the race organiser for the Zap Cat Championship. So for those who aren't in the know, what is Zap Cat racing?
Zap Cat racing is, we like to call it affordable family fun. It's a one design race series for entry-level powerboat racing, basically. So the boat is the same, the engine is the same. You cannot modify your engines. You can't spend lots of money on making it faster. It's down to driver ability. How the boat handles, how you drive the boat, how you connect with the boat is what it's all about. It's cheap, it's affordable, and it's family fun racing.
So tell us a bit more about the boats.
Well, the boat's a 4.5 metre inflatable catamaran style boat with a 50 horsepower Tohatsu engine on the back. They weigh 150 kilos. They're a 340 brake horsepower per tonne power to weight ratio, which makes them faster and more manoeuvrable than the Ferrari Testarossa. They do 3 Gs round a corner, which is fighter plane turning. They're exciting, they're extreme, they're not for the faint-hearted. You have a driver in the back that steers the boat and drives the boat, and then you have what we call intelligent ballast at the front. They keep the nose down, they keep the boat balanced, so the co-pilot at the front moves their weight around to allow the boat to fly correctly and get more speed out of it.
Steve, why do you think that the Royal Marines do this? Why do you think there's quite a few Royal Marine teams?
Well, this year there's only 2 Royal Marine teams. Last year we had 5. Simply because, you know, it's one of these adrenaline junkie things I'd boot next to.
It looks pretty hairy. You seem to get a lot of air. Do you feel scared at any point?
All the way through. Yeah.
And you're literally off the water quite a bit of the time, and if you're in somebody else's wake, sometimes it just throw you off the race line altogether.
Yeah, well, we're lucky. Yesterday and today we haven't managed to go in the water yet, but this time, yeah.
Well, it's not just the men racing here today. Rhiannon is here representing the girls. Rhiannon, do you have to have raced a boat before to get involved with Zapcat racing?
You do. I mean, to be a pilot, so yesterday I was out in the water, I was doing a bit of piloting. To do that, you need to have a powerboat qualification. To be the co-pilot, you don't need any boating experience, you just need to be hard as nails, to be honest, because it's a tough job.
It looks
really tough job.
So physical. I mean, what level of fitness do you need?
You do need to be pretty fit. I think, to be honest, you need to have more of a mentality for it. It is, when you look out at the boats, you look out on the water, you can see they're getting thrown around, but when you're actually in the boat, I'm absolutely battered and bruised today, absolutely covered in bruises. So, yeah, relative level of fitness, but also just you need to be hard as nails.
So battered and bruised, that doesn't sound very appealing to me. What is the appeal?
If you're an adrenaline junkie, then it's definitely something that you should give a go. It's like, how I described it yesterday was if you've been on a roller coaster and you do one lap and you get off and you're shaking and you're buzzing, but do 7 laps, do 8 laps, do 9 laps, and yeah, that's pretty much what it's like.
Now, the girl racers are the minority. Do you get special treatment, or do you just get treated like just another racer?
It's nice actually. When you're off the water, everyone is so willing to help. The race is here. This is my first event, so everyone's been so lovely. Everyone's been really helpful, carrying my boat down for me, being the muscle. Once you're out there, though, the glassy faces come on, and it's all about the competition. So yeah.
There are lots of other things to do at Aqua Adrenaline, including scuba diving. So I've come here to the Imperial Hotel to meet Michael from Dive Torquay, and he's going to introduce me to scuba diving. So Michael, what do I need to know as a first-time scuba diver?
Well, first thing, that scuba diving's extremely good fun. There's lots to see, loads of places and people to meet, but to introduce you to the underwater world.
Now, I always hear that it's really difficult to get the breathing technique right. Is this correct?
No, not at all. I think a lot of people just believe they have to breathe out very hard because you have a regulator in your mouth, but the modern regulators today are so good that the ease of breathing is actually easier than what it is now, so you don't have to worry at all.
So what are the most important, the key things to remember?
Always keep your regulator in your mouth because this is supplying you with oxygen. So if it's in your mouth, you know you can breathe. Check your air gauges to make sure you have enough air, and make sure you're with your buddy at all times.
Do you go diving here?
Everywhere, yes, yeah. It's a little bit choppy today, but I mean we're blessed here. I mean we have seals, dolphins, cuttlefish. You know, I mean the crustacean life under here is magnificent. You know, I've had the privilege of diving all around the world, and this is, although it's colder, it still is spectacular diving.
Right, well, you're definitely selling it to me, so let's get started.
So obviously you have your scuba tank, which is under a high pressure. As it comes up into your first stage basically turns the high pressure into an intermediate pressure. Then as it comes down your hose to your second stage, which is your main breathing apparatus, the diaphragm in here basically converts it into an ambient pressure. So no matter what depth of water you're in, the ease of breathing stays the same. Now we have an inflator hose for our BCD, which is a buoyancy controlled device. It's glorified life jacket. It has a nice comfort back plate so that the tank doesn't dig into you or anything. Keeps it nice and central so it's not moving around. And we have an inflate and a deflate. So we can't overinflate them because they have dump valves. You can hear it now coming out. We give them a test as well, make sure they're all working. And then we have a manual inflate as well as a deflate. So we use our mouth. Remember to still be breathing out when you've released the button, or else all the air that you've just put in comes straight back out. And then again, we just check it. We can see air's going in and staying in. And we're just checking it all works. You'll also see around the back here, we have another dump valve. So we know that it all works. So we're happy with that. And then last but by no means least is our SPG, submersible pressure gauge. So on one side you'll see it goes up generally to 300 bar. That's our air. So we know how much air is in the tank. We're on 100, which in the pool it would give us, we're talking maybe 40 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it all depends on the depth you go to, the temperature of the water, because colder it is, the more you breathe. But every 10 metres is the equivalent to another atmosphere. So every time you go down 10 metres, it's changing the dynamics of what's in the tank.
Just talking about all this equipment, how old do you have to be to scuba dive?
Well, you can start a junior open water course at 10 years old. But Paddy also do SEAL Team and Bubble Maker, which starts younger. A couple of things before we do get in, there are some signals. So this, which we would sometimes out on the street go, oh yeah, nice one, mate. That means you want to come up. That means you want to go down. This is okay. So if ever I give you this signal, I want some reply. So if you're good, you will give me this back. If something is wrong, shake your hand. And then say for instance you can't equalise your ears because of the pressure, you would shake your hand and you would point to your ears, and then I know what the problem is, I can rectify it straight away.
I'm just hoping that when you say okay, I don't say yeah.
Yeah, but because it's your first go, I actually can anticipate that, and normally you can tell if someone is wanting to come up by facial expressions. Eyes give it away before any signals. So normally, you know, if we was out and I was diving with you regularly and you did that, I would know that something was wrong and we would come up. But because this is your first go, a lot of times people will go like that and I'll go, what, you want to go up? And they're like, oh no, and then realise. But
Okay.
It's just getting used to it.
Yep, definitely.
That's much better. Up we come. That's perfect.
Mark, you're a volunteer for a sea rescue organisation here in the Isle of Wight. Tell us about the organisation and what you do for them.
Well, basically, I'm the operations manager for Sandown and Shanklin Independent Lifeboat, and we're a 24/7 emergency service. We operate from St Catherine's Point round to Bembridge Ledge and some 7-8 miles out. It's about 70 square nautical mile range. Area of patch that we've got to look after, and quite often that gets bigger when another boat goes out a neighbouring station. So we've ended up as far round as towards Chale area or right up the Solent, and so it's quite an interesting patch. We've got everything in our area with incidents going off, whether it be diving incidents, motorboats breaking down, injuries, people stuck on cliffs, big searches for people that are missing. Everything that could happen out at sea, we usually get called to.
Tell us about the demonstration.
Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to put a man in the water. He's going to act as though he's in trouble. He's going to let off an orange smoke. We're going to go in, pick him up, and then the helicopter's going to come in and winch the guy off of the boat because perhaps he may need some medical treatment. We want to get him to hospital quickly. So it'll be quite an eventful, a bit of low flying, boats shooting around everywhere. So yeah, should be fun.
How important is it to have people's support?
Without the support from the local people, businesses on the island, visitors to the island, we are run totally by voluntary donations. It costs us about 19 to 20,000 a year to run the service, which isn't bad for an emergency service. Fully staffed by completely all voluntary people, and we've been going for the last 30 years where we are.
Tony, now you're the organiser for Aqua Adrenaline on the Isle of Wight.
That's right.
Tell us more about your involvement.
I'm involved with sailing here at the Sailing Club, and it's all about getting people out on the water and enjoying themselves. There are people that aren't that comfortable in the water. Well, we'll put stuff on land for them to do, like mountain boarding, segways. Just come along and have a great day out down on the beach.
And what do you think is so special about the Isle of Wight?
Oh, it's just beautiful. I mean, this is one of the best playgrounds in the country. This bay where we've put this on this year, I mean, it is just crying out for an event like this, and having the powerboats, the Zap Cats, the guys from the Sailing Club here all joined in. We've got the jet skis out there on the water as well, the lifeguards involved, you know, we've got the emergency services here, Coast Guard, helicopter demonstrations, you know, it's all a big full-on day out for everyone. And the great thing is that all of the, you know, the people that are here, they keep coming up to me and saying, you know, when is it next year? And, you know, that's a fantastic response. That's job done as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's been another fantastic action-packed day here on the Adrenaline Tour 2014. The Isle of Wight certainly has a lot to offer, and I can't wait for next year.